And welcome to the Midday Show. I am Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. I should have checked our mics first. I didn't.
My gosh.
We're really winging it today.
I don't even have mine on yet.
You're eating chips. You don't even have your mic on yet today.
On,
I have a list of things here, though. We're going to talk about the Tiger Woods girlfriend scandal, Biden leaving Social Security out of his budget proposal, Penn State, the Nittany Lions. It looks like they're going to be dancing here in March. Some PIAA stuff, some PED stuff, some headlines, some local news. Mark, how are you feeling today?
Now I'm set.
So Tiger Woods, not a great guy.
Hold on, I want to give you this trivia question.
That's not a great guy, Tiger Woods.
Well, it's bull, but we'll get to that in a second. So I have trivia questions for you because we were just talking about and we said it or whatever.
Oh, okay. Are you ready to give them to me?
I just read this, yes, and I actually know the answers to this one.
Okay.
Do you know who Mickey Dolenz is? The lead singer of the Monkees? You know the Monkees?
I do know.
Hey, we're the Monkees. He's the lead singer.
I know who the Monkees are. I never would have known that that's
they're a British rock band, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know where he was born?
No.
Los Angeles.
California.
Maybe they weren't British. Maybe they would just seem to be British because they were of that time, but they were made for a TV show. He was in college and like he'd done some acting stuff. He auditioned. He got the part. And I always thought they were British.
Is that my trivia question?
He was from LA. That's one of them.
Oh,
and because I'd start. This is what made me think of it. Because you mentioned Enter the Dragon. I said Enter the Dragon.
Can you give a 10-second answer? How far is the gap as someone who has experience between Britons and Americans? Like, how far is the gap?
What do you mean?
Like the difference between the British and the Americans.
The people?
Yeah.
Oh, we're way better.
That's not. Okay, go ahead. What's the next question?
Bruce Lee, the most famous martial art.
He did Enter the Dragon.
Enter the Dragon. You just know that because we just talked about it before. Yes. Do you know where he was born?
America.
He was born in San Francisco.
I'm using context clues. So yes, I was correct. California.
The reason was his parents were where I say China. Maybe they were from.
They're from Asia. Is that?
Yes, and they were in some sort of entertainers. They were traveling with their job. I don't think he was a martial artist, but I can't remember what he did. But they were in California at the time.
Okay.
And that's where Bruce was born. So he was born an American citizen. Then they went back and his whole career, he like started in Asia and then he built his way up until he broke through in America.
Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, I think he was like 22 when he came back or something like that.
Okay.
But just by the dumb luck of life, he was born in San Francisco. So he's an American citizen. Do you know what president was the first one born in America?
No, I don't. First one born in America.
Because obviously Washington was born over there.
It's a really interesting. I never thought of it this way. I mean, so it had to be mid 1800s. I'm not sure. Who would it have been?
I don't know when he became. I'm trying to find when it was Martin Van Buren.
Okay.
He was the 8th president. So the first 7 presidents were either born there or born here before we became a country.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. I've never thought of the fact that the first presidents couldn't have possibly been born in America. That makes a ton of sense.
So anyway, all right, now back to important stuff like Tiger Woods.
Because you brought up just kind of like citizenship, and I was actually watching, there's this really interesting documentary on Netflix right now about piracy, like basically about like pirates in America when it was first going on. So Caribbean, New Orleans, like that kind of the whole.
I was thinking you meant like stealing movies and music and stuff.
Like actual pirates.
Like,
arr. So anyway, part of the documentary, as you're watching this, I fell down this rabbit hole and they were talking about how less than 200 years ago, like 150 years ago, you could be born on a ship and that was your citizenship. So if you were on a French ship, you were French, right?
Oh, okay.
And so the fascinating part for me when you start to wrap your head around that is like, we're talking like 3 generations ago. Like it took so long to go from one nation to another nation by boat that your citizenship could be dependent on who made the boat. And that's 3 generations ago.
You know what's
4 generations
crazy?
ago.
And I don't know how we got to talking.
Yeah.
I watched, both my daughters are home for spring break, and my oldest daughter said, "Hey, I want to watch The Godfather because I've never seen it. Whatever." Yeah. And I told her, did we talk about the cartoon where the guy said the guy critiqued The Godfather and said it's for Family Guy. Yes. And so anyway, I told her I've seen it a couple times, didn't really love it. Feel like I'm missing the boat because it's the greatest movie ever, and I didn't think so. So I'll watch it again with you. So we watched it. So last night, when I rented the first one, I rented the second one because The Godfather 2 also won Best Picture or something. It's historically known as one of the great sequels of all time, and I've never seen The Godfather 2. So I watched it last night. And it shows a scene of in like 19-aught whatever, young Vito Corleone coming over from Sicily on a boat to America.
Okay.
And so it's funny you mentioned that, how long it took. And I'm sitting there looking at all these people sitting on a deck with just a sleeping roll and the clothes on their back. And I'm thinking, what did they eat? And how did any of these people survive?
No, I agree.
And a month? That was in the Pilgrims' days, maybe more. I don't know.
I bet you there was a time where it was more. This is.
Now, I know in 1900, Titanic, it took a couple days because they were steamships and it was different.
Yes, but here's the other part, though. You have to remember, Titanic was an anomaly. That was for that one
it was
voyage,
the best boat.
It was
right.
it was setting the trend. There wasn't another Titanic. It was the average. I'm just blown away by when you think about the 1800s. We talk about the 1800s as if it was like another solar system, as if it's far out of reach or so.
It was.
But the thing is, though, is when you look at time linear, when you just look at it, it was. They're generations away. Up until the 2000s, you could reach out and touch somebody from that time.
Well, when Chris Rock, during his special, was talking about his grandmother in South Carolina, when she was a child, you could not go to a white dentist as a black child. Right. She either had to find a black dentist or you could go to a veterinarian. Mm-hmm. And that was, a grandmother from. So anyway.
So the whole thing, that whole part of it fascinates me. Heather, the Monkees were an American pop rock band formed in Los Angeles in 1966, comprising of Mickey Dolenz, Michael Nesmith, Peter Tork, and Davy Jones.
I just always thought they were British until
I thought they were British.
Maybe because they were kind of a Beatles knockoff. I knew they were made for TV. When Mickey got hired, he was the drummer. When he got hired, he couldn't play drums. Okay. So they're like, you need to learn.
So it was definitely made for TV.
Yes. Okay. But he could sing, but there was that aspect.
Go Jeff. Thank you.
Go Jeff for what?
Hey guys, I'm excited to hear about the topics we chose for you. The producers were involved a little bit, not a ton. A lot of squawking in the producer chat. I know you're not in the producer chat. Just a lot of infighting. It makes it very difficult to find good topics.
Because
I wish they would get refocused. I wish we could get back on our.
Don't you think the producers are full of divas? Isn't that a room full of divas? Wouldn't you describe them?
So, yes, from time to time. From time to time, it is. They'll get back on their A game, though. They'll find it again. I want to talk about, we have Social Security, Tiger Woods, Penn State Dancing.
Let's go to Tiger.
You want to go to Tiger?
Because I don't think it could possibly be true.
Allegations right now against Tiger. There's a lot of, she's claiming there's some abuse stuff, which that will be worked out.
I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, that's kind of part of this.
I was just talking about the terms of the breakup.
Yes, but I just want to lay that out because I feel that would be, I thought it would be ignorant of us to not at least mention. Okay. So part of what's making the news for Tiger Woods, allegations are coming out about this girlfriend that he had. She claims that they had a agreement on how long she could live in the house. Apparently, no matter what happened, she was allowed to stay in this house for X amount of years. Tiger Woods, apparently, according to her side of the story, came home, told her to pack a bag because she was going on vacation. He was sending her on a trip. So she packed up her bag, she went on the trip, and essentially when they dropped her off, his people, people that work for Tiger Woods, essentially told her, you are no longer dating. You are no longer a couple, and you are no longer living on the residency, and left her on her way. So that is her side of the story.
Didn't you even hear that he wasn't even the one that told her about the trip? His people handled all of it.
Yes. And so here's the funny thing.
There's no way that's true.
Okay, but this is the thing about Tiger Woods. This is why he's a fascinating person. I hear that story, and knowing what I know about Tiger Woods, I'm not claiming it's true. What I'm saying to you is I am not shocked if it is. And the first thing you said was, it can't be true. And I'm like, what about the Tiger Woods story so far makes you believe that that's not a possible story in the realm of Tiger Woods?
Is there anyone who breaks up with someone like that? Anyone?
Tiger Woods could. Like, he could.
I know there's lots of people who have entourage, who have people around them who could. But, like, I could...
You know,
like,
we haven't heard
to
from?
go to the elaborateness, is elaborateness a word? To, here, you're going on a trip. Like, it's almost like a mafia. Like, we're going for a ride out in the country, you're getting up in the trunk. Like, you're going for a ride to the airport, we're going to drop you at the airport. And, oh, by the way, your relationship's over. You can't get back in the house. You, like...
You don't... But see, if you're Tiger Woods, I think that's simple. Like, you tell your people what you want, and it's... Again, like... No.
Oh, it's clean. It's simple. It is.
Like, I'm not sitting here claiming I know the truth.
But can people do that? Like, this wasn't a one night stand that he brought home and he didn't even know her last name. Like, this was a girlfriend he was living with.
I know, but the way she makes it sound, which, by the way, one of the more fascinating parts of this is Tiger Woods. From everything I just looked for, Tiger Woods has not spoken out yet, which typically is not a great sign. Usually, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a strategy as to not to defend yourself. Well, it's in court, isn't it?
Not yet. It happened. She is now, like, claiming her side of it. Deposition, allegations, whatever you want to call it.
That would be the only, but yes, you would think he would come out and say, yeah, she's crazy, it's bunk.
Anything. Just come out and say anything. It's unfortunate. That's not how I feel. That's not how I feel things went or how it did go. It's unfortunate she feels that. Like, anything.
No, anything. I get it. But it still can't be true because no one. I
will say this again. Nobody, and we said this last time, nobody in sports gets more of a benefit of the doubt because people just want to see him win than Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods.
You don't think Michael Jordan did?
Tiger Woods is not. To compare Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, knowing what we know about Tiger Woods makes no sense.
What do we know about Tiger Woods? He was a serial adulterer. Jordan wasn't a choir boy.
I understand that. He also has abused drug and alcohol. He has put other people's lives at danger.
Okay.
This is not.
He did.
Like,
yes.
Listen, I'm not saying that Tiger Woods should, like, go to, like, the bottoms of hell and the point that I'm making is, like, people ride for Tiger Woods like he, like, saved their firstborn child. And I'm just letting everybody know Tiger Woods, not like the best. He's not a great person. I don't think he's the worst, but he's not a good guy. Like, he just
is Jordan a good guy?
I think Jordan, again, here you're trying to compare the two, which is ridiculous.
They're the two most prominent sports figures of the modern era.
Do you think Michael Jordan ever put anybody's life at risk?
No, but I think.
Do you think?
Whoa, hold on. I don't think Michael Jordan was a nice guy.
I'm not. Did Michael Jordan ever put anybody's life at risk
by
abusing the law?
Okay. Not that I know.
Was Michael Jordan a?
Well, wait, hold on. Let me backtrack. Didn't Michael Jordan get pulled over for going like 140 miles an hour? Don't we have videos of him signing stuff for cops and driving away?
Yeah.
Well, when you're going 140 miles an hour, you don't think you're putting people's lives in danger?
This is my favorite part about the Tiger Woods experience. We're talking about Tiger Woods, and all you can think about is how Michael Jordan wasn't a good guy. That's like that's the world of Tiger Woods.
Hold on,
that's the world of Tiger Woods.
Because you made the statement that, like, you said no one, just because they want to see him win, and Tiger Woods is the Teflon. And I think Michael Jordan I don't think Michael Jordan was liked by many of his teammates. I don't think he's.
I'm not disputing anything.
I don't think there's a lot of, like, Michael Jordan had the allegations of affairs and I don't. Now, it wasn't like Tiger, but
would you compare Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan in the conversation we are having? Do you honestly believe that's a fair comparison? That the two are on the same level?
in the aspect of that they are both, because they are so beloved for what they did athletically, and they were both so rooted for athletically that they were given a lot of passes in other aspects of life. Yes, I think they're comparable.
Okay, well, good luck to Tiger Woods. I hope he's successful moving forward. Because apparently, again, Tiger Woods can do anything he wants to do.
I'm not saying that, but you made the statement, so I'm backing. I think Michael Jordan got a pass on a lot of things. I think a lot of things.
A pass like Tiger Woods?
I mean, they're different aspects, but I think they both, like, whatever Jordan did, it was like he got a pass. And I think Woods is the same way. But I understand. Woods went to rehab in the middle of. Woods was, I don't, as much as Jordan, as much as every couple has issues, I don't think Jordan's wife ever took a 7-iron to the car while he was there, hoping that it was his head. I get all that stuff. Take away whoever it is. You could turn this into Johnny Depp. You could turn this into a rock star.
I want to talk about Tiger Woods. That's the point.
I don't think anyone would ever break up with someone like that.
That's the problem with Tiger Woods fans, is like, I want to talk about Tiger Woods, and like no one wants to just say not a great dude. Not a great dude. And that's okay.
He has issues. I don't disagree with that.
Listen, I have spans in my life. I'm not a great dude. There's all, like, I just think it's fair to say, call a spade a spade. Tiger Woods right now is not a great person. And no one wants to admit that.
Do you think he broke up with this chick this way?
What I'm saying to you is, I'm not shocked if he did, and everybody else is acting shocked, and they shouldn't, based off of what we know now about Tiger Woods.
It's not about, I'm not shocked that Tiger Woods. I don't think anyone would do this.
Really?
No one.
Anybody.
They faked, like they packed a bag like she's going on a trip.
Jimmy is ghosting 3 girls right now. and you don't think Tiger Woods is capable of ghosting somebody.
But not someone you live with, to the point of like knowing that this is going to come out somewhere, like just to the elaborateness of, I'm sure people have changed locks. I'm sure people have, but to be like, hey, you're going on a trip. We're going to Disneyland. Now we get to the airport. We drop you off. And he handled none of it. He wasn't even like.
See, that's the part, though, that doesn't shock me.
You think they're so insulated.
If it did happen, why would Tiger Woods handle any of it? Why would he do that?
Because that's how people break up. Even if it's true.
Tiger Woods is not people.
He's not people. I guess. Did you ever break up with someone through text? Because you're of that generation.
Did I ever break up with someone through text? I certainly had arguments via text that basically
I've done that.
Okay. I've had arguments via text that, if you would have let me finish, that basically led to like, yeah, this isn't happening.
But you know of the story, because that's something my generation, we were like, what do you mean you break up with people during text? I would argue that some people of the generation, most of their relationship was over text. So to break up with over text is not a big deal. But that's at least, like, I texted someone, hey, I don't think we should see each other anymore. I
think you're looking at it like she was a girlfriend, and it's very clear, like, in her allegations, that like this was an agreement. Like, this was not like a lovey-dovey, like,
it was his live-in girlfriend.
I understand that, but if you read her allegations, like, they had agreements, like how long she could stay at the house. Like she makes it sound like this was way more like legality than what it actually was, of like fiending over each other, and like it's like the 3rd or 4th marriage. Like, you're acting as if like they were high school sweethearts, and like he's concerned about, like, I don't know. It just comes down to how you feel about Tiger Woods. I am of the belief that Tiger Woods it has been a rough go over the last decade. And to expect anything, like, to hear something like that, it's kind of like the Mike Tyson zone. Have you ever heard of the Mike Tyson zone?
The Mike Tyson zone.
Mike Tyson zone is, I could tell you any story about Mike Tyson and you would have believed it for about a decade straight.
Well, okay.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is the idea that Tiger Woods is not in that zone, like the idea that Tiger Woods is not in a Mike Tyson story zone where I could tell you something about Tiger Woods, and for a second you've got to go like, oh, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, he is in that zone, except Tiger Woods fans will not accept that fact. They will not accept the fact that he is not like this perfect person like he is on a golf course. They can't do it.
I will say $30 million lawsuit. I guess part of this is, I forgot this part. She wants to break the non-disclosure. Like their relationship had a non-disclosure and she wants to break it.
So again, how many relationships?
They've been dating since 2017.
Mark,
you can't break up with someone after 5 years through a group that fakes to drop her off at the airport for a trip.
Mark, think about what you just said. They have an NDA. How many relationships have an NDA?
Because I think all the famous ones.
Okay, so the point I'm making to you is then you can't compare it to like the normal elements of a relationship. Like they do not apply.
Well, okay. I mean, I get your point that you're making. But the NDA comes from the fame, comes from the money and all that stuff. But the relationship itself, the two people under it, it's like when famous people get married and they have a prenup.
Yeah.
The rest of us schmucks get married, we don't have a prenup because we don't have anything and it doesn't matter. But the relationship is still the relationship. Like when him and her got in a fight, did he have his people like yell at her? Or did she yell at his people and they yelled like were they middlemen? Or did they just say, I hate you, no, I hate you?
It was probably like a legal tenure. Like it was like, hey, this is over. Like you're like
5 years.
Like this is no longer. Why does that shock you? I'm going to ask you basic yes or no questions so we can get away
She's
from
holding
this.
on to a verbal agreement with
ready?
nothing in writing from what I read. Go.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
yes or no? Is Tiger Woods a good person? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is Tiger Woods a good person?
He doesn't.
Yes or no?
He doesn't
is Tiger
seem
Woods
to
a
be
good
great.
person? Okay. Yes or no?
I don't feel like it's
just yes
tough.
or no.
It's
just yes
too
or no.
complicated for that.
Yes or no? Will most Tiger Woods fans still cheer for Tiger Woods?
Well, absolutely.
Okay. So again, like it's that simple. Tiger Woods is not a great person right now. It's fine. I go through stretches where I'm not a great person. It's okay. But no one wants to admit it. I have lots of people that will look at me and be like, you're not being very good right now. Like you're kind of a jerk right now. Like Tiger Woods is kind of a jerk. No one wants to say it because we have all these great memories and all these great things he did for culture and golf and yada, yada, yada. Tiger Woods is kind of a jerk. He's not a great person.
Well, and this is what I would say.
Okay.
I would think it has been his existence, to say that his existence has been unique.
Yes.
Is an understatement.
Yeah.
And there has been no one that has ever walked a path like he has walked for him to get guidance and to be on top. And his home life was interesting. Did you see the documentary about it?
Of course.
It was interesting to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
To understand why in aspects he's not the most normally socially well adjusted is very understandable. Because he was not brought up in any world that was remotely normal.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. He's still a jerk. Right now, today, Tiger Woods. Now listen,
it's hard to argue. It's understandable.
10 years from now, Tiger Woods might be a really nice guy again. Who knows? Right now, he's not a nice guy. He isn't. He's just not.
And I get all that.
Okay.
But there are lots of non-nice people who break up with people without an entourage, fake trip, dumping them at the airport.
So if you had to guess right now, you think it's fake. You don't think it's real.
I think it's exaggerated. I think parts of it, I can't believe she made it all up out of the blue, but I can't, it just can't all be true.
Possibly. We'll see. We're never.
The old saying of there's three sides to every story. There's his side, her side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle.
I've seen Tiger Woods side. I've seen what he has done the last decade or so, and again, not the side I would be rooting for. Not the side I would want to be on. Just an opinion, just my opinion of Tiger Woods. Not the side I would want to be on. Doesn't mean he can't change. Doesn't mean he can't better himself. But for me, I'm good. I read it. Oh, I read it.
That was very funny.
I read it.
That was very funny.
Let's switch over real quick because we'll bounce around. We actually were talking about Social Security in this room the other day. We don't have to really dive into it because I don't know.
Because we actually do talk about intellectual things from time to time.
We do. That was intellectual.
What? The Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Yes, but this was more it's a pop culture psychological analysis. Like we did have, three of us had a discussion about government and Social Security and the future and the past of it and all that stuff. So yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about Social Security, and I've said to you, I don't like, to me, it still feels like a Ponzi scheme, but because it's inside the government, no one views Social Security that way. The numbers for me just don't make sense. Like there's just no way we're going to continue to be able to afford Social Security unless we continue to print money. Which brings us to the point, missing from Biden's budget when he gave his speech, one of the only things that people could not find is there was no plan or budget for Social Security. So despite all of the different hikes and taxes and everything within the proposal, Social Security was a blank. I said to you, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either.
I don't know if it's a positive. I don't know if it's a negative. I don't know. Like, I have had conversations with people smarter than me that said, like, we're just going to keep printing money, and so it doesn't matter. Like, Social Security will always exist because we'll make sure it exists. But again, it still has to come from somewhere.
Well, people my age,
yes,
our whole lives, we've been told Social Security is going to run out. It's not going to be there when you're older. It's going to run out. So
yes,
your comparison to a Ponzi scheme is basically what we've been told our whole lives. Whether it ends up being true or not, I don't know, but that's what we've. So the day that Social Security is not around anymore, or in a different form of what we, like my generation is going to be up in arms,
right?
But we're also going to be like, well, we knew it was coming. We were told. We've been told for 50 years it's been coming. So, yeah, I can just picture somebody in the back room after the speech is over. And they're like, you left out Social Security. There's like some intern who's supposed to type it up. Right. And it's like, what? Oh.
And just completely missed
just like.
Do you think it's that right now because of, personally, I feel like the right is so concerned about, the right is so worried about things fighting for what was. And the left is so concerned about kind of, I hate using the word woke, but just like progressive and social issues and things like that, like it was kind of like, hey, like, let's just not talk about Social Security.
Maybe.
Like there's no plus side to us talking about the issue of Social Security. So like, let's just, the right's not going to say anything. The left's not going to say anything. So let's just, why even bring up something that could be an issue?
I was going to say, don't you feel like everything is just posturing? And they don't really, it's not about meat and potatoes, like what the issues are, how we progress. And it's just about putting a pretty bow on everything.
Well, I agree with you, except from the sense, like, the one thing that I do think most Americans agree on right now is like financial, budgetary, like federal issues. Like, I do think a common thing between the left and the right is inflation, it's balancing all these things. And the right has their idea of like how you do it, and the left has their idea of how you do it. Clearly they disagree on how to fix it, but I do think it's one thing that people are interested in is like again, I really don't care a ton about like Biden's budget proposal, but like for me, Social Security has never made sense to me ever. Like, and I'm not implying I'm smart. I'm just implying that like when I sit down and I think about how Social Security works, younger people put in, older people, when they get to the top, they get their turn. And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, mathematically, it does not add up. It doesn't make sense in the long run unless you just keep printing money and you say, like, we will deal with the issue in other areas.
No, I get it. I mean, I'll tell you one of the issues, we've talked about this multiple times, is one of the issues with political speeches is nobody ever comes out and says, you know, this is what we think right now, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
And I don't think America would like be up in arms if someone said, like, we talked about it during the COVID thing a lot. Yeah. Like, this is the best we think, but we're not really sure. We're learning every day. And they think that the American people would go crazy over that when there are so many aspects of life, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's in sports. You know, how many times as a coach do you sit down with your team and be like, we don't know what we're going to do with this. We got to figure it out. And, you know, tomorrow we come back and we have a plan as we've got to look at film and we've got to discuss things. And just pretending that they know the answers and have the answers and this is the right path when it's way more murky than that. it would be refreshing for someone to come out
Yeah.
and say, we don't really know. This is what we think, but we're trying to gather more information.
Yeah. Do you believe in Social Security? Like, do you believe that, like,
It's weird because it's always been here.
yeah,
And in my life, again, this is what we're like when I was a kid, we were told California was going to split off and it was going to drift out into the Pacific Ocean. And, all these things, you're like, we keep being told this and it hasn't happened yet. And so I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. No, I'm.
How was that profound?
No,
that was the most profound. That was almost Shakespearean. It's a weird thing.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, for me, it's a math equation that does not add up unless you have unlimited funds. I did see, I don't know if you saw this or not, there was a graph released after a speech. And essentially it showed kind of like climbing rates. It showed different tax hikes. Like it basically showed all these graphs, and it basically showed like what the bump in COVID did. So you want to know how off, like this is what makes you and I just perfect for each other. I give you zero visual cues, zero. And I'm about to show you how a graph looks, and you immediately turn into the fridge.
I'm back.
Well, no, it's my fault. This is my fault.
I'm ready. No, I'm ready for the cue.
I should have played off of you. So tax hikes, rates, all these things. And basically it showed the bump that happened to COVID. The reason they showed it, so it's a perfect trend, and then it bumps up. Everything that we're doing right now, as far as inflation and everything else, there's this idea within society that like we are going to get back to 2019. Like we're going to get back to where we are. And what's very clear in all of these graphs is we're not going to get back to 2019. We are leveling out to eventually get even with where we would have been in 2025, 2030. And so, like when I look at that and I just think about that to myself, they're just going to keep printing money. They're just going to, because I don't think inflation is going to necessarily come down. Rates are not going to come back to where they were. We're just going to try to level it out, because at the end of the day, by the time we would have hit 2025, 2030, this is how much a dozen eggs would have cost. This is how much a gallon of milk would have cost.
I agree with you.
So when I think about Social Security, I think the same thing. Like, I think we're just going to keep printing money. I don't think there is a solution. I don't know how they're going to fix it.
You're young. You got a long time to worry about it.
You think so?
My generation will fix it for your generation. Just believe in us.
Your generation.
Trust us and believe in us.
Are you a boomer? Are you the baby boom? You're after the baby boom.
I'm after the baby boom.
I mean, part of the thing is the baby boom, right? Because now, instead of those people paying for the people above them, you now have smaller generations beneath trying to pay for them. And I just mathematically, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
We'll fix it. Don't worry about it.
I think you got it.
Just sit back. We got it. We'll take care of it.
I think you got it. Mark, how many professional athletes do you think use some sort of PEDs? Jeff and I had a huge discussion over it last night. Can I tell you how the discussion started? Because it may help you. It may help your answer. There was a UFC guy, Charlene. He's big mouth, talks a lot. I can't think of his name. But anyway, he went on a podcast and he basically was talking about like performance enhancing drugs. And he basically said that his PED guy, his drug guy, is the same as LeBron's. And he made the comment that essentially, I know what LeBron does. People would be like shocked if they knew what LeBron is doing to like keep up. And so he's not like a reliable source. Like this guy is a little off of this. He's been hit in the head a lot of times. Okay. However, I said to my friends and I said to Ryan, let's all take a deep breath for a second. And let's honestly ask ourselves that if we found out tomorrow that LeBron James was using some sort of like advanced formula, some sort of enhancement drug, something that's like not even on a list yet, like experimental, would we honestly be surprised? Would we, like, if you heard that news, given what he's doing at his size, at his age, the consistency, I don't think I would be shocked to learn he's doing treatments that are not, and I even said, I don't even think it's illegal, because I think it's like that advanced. Like, I think it's far ahead of what other people are doing.
That is interesting. The whole chemistry of it and the changing of it and what actually determines performance enhancing. Because I had a buddy who's in the sports media who was just loved baseball back when I was in Baltimore. And he talked about, this was back, the 90s of the steroid era. And he said one of the other things that gets lost in the steroid era is the greenies and the amphetamines, because there's so much jet lag and travel and stuff like that, that they're like, these guys are taking pills to keep themselves not awake, but to keep themselves alert so they're not fatigued, because you can't be tired and turn on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So then that question becomes, is that a performance enhancing drug? It's basically uppers.
Sure.
It's different than steroids. It's different than the muscle building or the blood doping that we saw in cycling and all these other aspects. But he's like, I'm arguing that it's an artificial stimulant to make guys better, that they're not, because the pitchers are tired too. Right. The outfielders are tired. It's all these things. So it's a whole debate of what actually counts as a performance. It's once upon a time, people would have counted creatine probably as performance enhancing when it's.
I think it's anything that pushes you above your natural ability. So like, you may be able to, I don't really care if somebody can do the thing they can do longer. But if they're like throwing 98 and then they come out and they're throwing 105, 104, like, to me, so it's the same thing with like Barry Bonds. Like, yes, you still have to hit the baseball, but in baseball, the difference between hitting the ball 250 feet or hitting it 400 feet, and it's very clearly Barry Bonds went beyond his natural ability when it came to how far he could hit a baseball. Not how often he could hit a baseball, but how far he could hit it. So to me, it's like, how far are you going beyond your natural abilities?
I get what you're saying. It is it wouldn't shock me if there's all kinds of guys taking all kinds of. Now, I think it's like Ivan Drago and Rocky? You've seen Rocky 4, right? But little things here and little things here, the whole world of what's undetectable and what isn't, and guys who still look the same. Because what happened in baseball during the 90s is guys morphed into different people.
Correct.
And now it's probably better. So it wouldn't shock me.
So most of the arguments that I got back is it can't be a secret. Everybody's doing this stuff. The argument that I made is, and I don't know if you remember this, in the 2000s, there were rumors about Kobe Bryant. Do you remember this at all? Kobe Bryant would get on a plane and he would go to Germany and he would basically do like blood transfusions, different.
Yes.
Okay, do you remember this?
I do.
And they are like, Kobe Bryant has admitted to it, like basically saying I was doing different experimental treatments, trying anything to just physically yes. And so what I said was, there's a reason only Kobe Bryant was doing that in the early 2000s, because not everybody can afford to do what Kobe Bryant does.
Well, and they weren't invited.
Right. So the idea then of listen, whatever LeBron is doing, everybody must be doing it. I don't know if I and listen.
I agree with you on that.
And I'm not just picking on LeBron. I would say that for there's probably a dozen athletes in the world that to assume everybody has access and affordability to the things that those doesn't have, I don't think is a fair assumption.
And they're doing this not to keep up, but to get an edge.
Sure.
So they wouldn't want to give that edge to their competitors.
Sure.
I agree with you on that. Speaking of people who are wonderful guys, there's Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. Is it too soon? Still too soon?
What?
No? I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, that he's passed away?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't know if you saw this or not. And I've been digging into it. I haven't brought it up to you yet because I'm still trying to figure out the validity of it. Apparently he was really pushing. You know how Ashton Kutcher does the stuff with oh my goodness, he has a development team and they help out with child trafficking. Okay. Kobe was basically starting up this cause, he was going to, and apparently there were a couple of companies that were not thrilled about this. And so helicopter crash, it was a week after he had brought forth this plan, a lot of weird stuff. So since we're doing a little tinfoil stuff with Tiger Woods and LeBron James and stuff like that, there is some weird Kobe stuff that if you start to look into it, the timing is either cruel or it's unfortunately very, very opportune.
Almost sinister.
It's very weird.
So he was was his cause child trafficking?
If anybody knows it, please mention it, because now it's starting to come to the forefront.
I've also heard now that it's all said and done that him and Shaq got along a lot better than people made it out to be. I'm not sure if I believe that, but that was one of the issues, that Shaq and Kobe were a locker room rivalry.
Well, you and I have also said too that a lot of times, like, brothers fight, like sisters fight, like the people you are closest to and you spend the most time with, like, you're going to fight and you're going to have disagreements. And I am sure that there's some of that to the Shaq and Kobe relationship. I have no doubt that there is, I don't want to say like big brother, little brother stuff, but there certainly is some like too close for comfort. Like, there's no way they were ever truly going to be okay with each other.
You know what I always thought, not to go this way because what I always thought was Kobe's biggest issue. He was too much like Jordan. And people didn't like that. Because LeBron as a player is very different than Jordan. Shaq was very different. All these people. Kobe is the one who was, his game most resembled Jordan's. And he was obviously a great player. And people were a little bit like, Jordan is the greatest of all time, and we don't need another one like him.
Okay.
And that is what I think. It's one of the things I think, perception-wise, why he wasn't. Now, when he was teamed with Shaq, part of the thing about Shaq is he's so lovable, and he's such a big kid that, like, personality, he was more fun to be around than Kobe was.
Okay.
Kobe was just like more of the cold-blooded assassin, like, I'm here to win at all costs. Mm-hmm. Where Shaq won a lot, but Shaq was much more jovial about it.
Right.
But that's what I think. If Kobe would have been a point guard, if Kobe would have been a bigger, like LeBron is, I think it would have helped. But he was very, very similar to Jordan in every way on the court.
Basketball is unique. Like we've talked before, baseball, like there's an order and you can't. Yep. Basketball is unique in the sense of, like, you have to be willing. There is a pecking order, more so in basketball. And in football, it's designated, in my opinion. Right. In baseball, it's designated. In basketball, like, it is up for grabs.
You got to work it out.
It is something that has to be decided on and agreed upon, and it's just very, very different. So I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would. Anything else before we?
Big win for Penn State.
They should be dancing. They should be in March Madness.
They play again tonight at 6:30. They get Northwestern, who they could beat.
Yes, they can.
Northwestern's good, but they could beat Northwestern.
A little fun fact: the assistant coach for Northwestern, I don't know if you know this or not, is Taylor Battle.
Is he really?
It is.
I did not know that.
Yes, for those who don't know, Taylor Battle.
Taylor Battle was like the last great player at Penn State?
I don't know about. Well, he was the starting point guard for the last team that went to the tournament.
Okay.
Yep.
And doesn't he spell Taylor with no Y?
Maybe.
That bothered me too. There's something funky about his name. I don't think there's a Y in Taylor.
Okay.
I think it's Taylor, which is
possible.
That bothered me. Yeah. But they're a fun team. It looks like now with the win last night, Penn State and Pitt are both in, which will make March Madness a little bit of fun because that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
And they got a chance to win again. Like, they could win today.
Yes.
6:30. It's probably the Big Ten Network again, would be my guess, isn't it?
Tastes Like Good says, don't sleep on Tony Carr. You don't remember Tony Carr, do you?
I don't.
I believe he made an appearance in the NBA. They also just had, in the last 3 years, they had a guy that played for the Pelicans in New Orleans. So they've had some
I just remember when they were, Taylor Battle was the guy, mm-hmm. and he was. He always had the ball in his hands. Like, mm-hmm. he was Penn State basketball for that year.
Yeah.
So has it been? He's got to be 30. It's been a decade.
I would argue more. I mean, they made the tournament in 2011. It's 2023.
So it's a little over a decade.
So I mean, he's probably mid-30s.
Okay,
maybe even more.
I do remember Taylor Battle though. Yeah. Good for him.
Yep. So he'll be on the bench tonight when they take on the Wildcats.
Who's he rooting for?
I don't know. It's always tricky, isn't it?
No, you're getting a paycheck from one of them.
Yeah, but you're getting the paycheck regardless.
Well, he wants his team. I'm
not saying Taylor Battle. Yes, I'm not saying he doesn't.
It is a unique. It would be hard to go out and see your colors, and that's your school. And I'm sure, mm-hmm. Whenever they play at Penn State, it's a home. It's
sure.
And So it's weird. Like, it's not a game that he doesn't want to have this game.
Right.
He would rather they were in the other side of the bracket. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But no, it is the matchup I would want for Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State's still there. They could beat Ohio State too. But they could win again. It's been fun. And Pitt got drilled yesterday by who? Duke?
Who's that? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Duke
But anyway, but they're gonna get in. But
Duke,
yeah, it's been fun.
Duke didn't even play their starters in the second half.
I think the first score I saw, they were down 25. Yeah. It was right out of the gate. So, but no, Penn State 6:30, yeah, good for them. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPA.com for all of your local news. We didn't get to talk about Live. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Live Golf. Maybe we'll talk about it eventually. Maybe on Monday. People got to get paid. People got to get paid.
Yeah, they got to get paid. And then, did I mention? Did we ever talk about Don't Look Up?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
But you haven't finished it yet.
No, I did. I have finished it since.
Well, yeah, but when we first talked about it,
okay.
You had not watched. You had not finished the movie yet.
That is, if you're not just embedded in basketball weekend, Jeff has seen it. I've seen it. It is Leonardo DiCaprio's in it, in a very un-Leo role. And who the chick Jennifer Lawrence is in it. And what's her name? Who plays the president? It's Meryl Streep. It's a very star-studded. And I remember when it came out, but it was under. It is. I think there's some brilliance to it. It is so.
We can talk about it because I thought it was fine. It wasn't something that I like. Let's put it this way: I had watched it like a year ago, and I didn't even tell you I had watched it. And usually, when I watch something and I enjoy it, I'd like rush in here and I'm like, I watched whatever.
I thought there were parts of it that were so honest and reflective about society that it was neat. So if you're ever bored, Don't Look Up. But like I said, star-studded cast. It's like 2 hours. It is. It was probably a Netflix original, I think. Yep. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
Don't Look Up, Leo.
I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. We will see you guys on